So welcome to AWS User Group Perth 2026. So tell me, who's missed this? Free food, free drinks, good conversations? I know I've missed this. So we're back and we're building our agenda for 2026. So thank you for reaching out and submitting to our CFPs. We'll talk more about that at the end, but let's get on with the show. So every time I host, there's always an elephant in the room I have to address. So let's do this. Steve Kinsman, Philip Weir, where are you? Oh, no golden jacket. Let's bring you some fun. Oh, there it is. So, yes.
It's hot, so it's coming off again. Not striptease.
Especially for the YouTube, so I don't look crazy. So, congratulations to both of you. Increasing the phone count. What are we now? 5, 6 in the city? Oh, don't do that. Don't make me name names, because if I name names, then I'm going to get an email. But so these guys from Coders have increased our gold jacket count in Perth. For the people here who you inspire, do you have any words of wisdom? Study. Certified. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. That's a good one. Oh, yeah, so congratulations. So I won't embarrass you too much now, so...
Okay, thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Another round of applause, thank you. So on with the show. So I have the pleasure of introducing Nadia, our local AWS AI hero, who's going to talk to us about, I'm not going to try and take your intro too much, but an amazing legend and a great way to start off, kickstart and launch our user group for 2026. Take it away, Nadia.
Thank you, thanks. Give me that now. Yeah. Thank you. Hi everyone. So yes, I'm Nadia. I'm Enterprise Solution Architect at BHP. I forgot where I work. I attended re:Invent last year, and what I'm going to present today is one of my favorite talks that I attended. So there is no credit for me. I'm just parroting what I learned, and all the credit goes to AWS because this is just what I learned, and I thought this is really worth to share with broader people. This is about like agentic AI, DevSecOps. This is of course typical user error. Sorry. So I've put the original talk, you can scan it, and this is where you can just watch the full video of that presentation. What we cover in this session is about the traditional challenges, the challenges we have for the traditional software development cycle, and how we can leverage Gen AI to automate all of those flows from requirement gathering to the end of the deployment, also security and maintenance. So I found it really useful because I personally am really interested in AI, and the more people I talk and like gather ideas what they are using AI for, what I'm hearing is that, oh, we have a chatbot and we have a retrieval, like we have augmented everything. We have vector databases and we just like get all the information from our knowledge base. But this was way beyond that, and it's just like you can extend it to any workflows with agentic AI platforms. It's not just for software development lifecycle. You can use it for everything. That if you have orchestration layer for your AI, if you have AI with tools, if you have role-based access, every businesses that we have multiple roles that they are doing different things. So we can leverage from that and extend it to any sort of business. What are the challenges we have for software development lifecycle by today? So as a developer, so I know that I have a lot of manual work. I have to capture information. I have to find out what's the requirements, gather those requirements. Where is my ticket? Okay, so this is my ticket. What's the missing requirement in that one? So all of those repetitive tasks happens over and over. They share about like an analytics or research has been done in Azure through the time that developer waste during the day. I couldn't find that research online, so I'm just parroting what I've heard. About 70-80% of developers, like per developer, waste about 30% of their times for this manual work. And that will impact definitely financially the business and the project. If we consider an enterprise company, they might have about like 200, 250 developers. And imagine like if 70-80% of the time is wasted, that might cost an average of like 100K, which is not really 100K for a developer. That might be about 8 million per annual. And if you consider that like 30% of each person per day, that's an add-on of like roughly about 5 million or something. So at the end of the day, it might be like about 13 million per year for about 200 developers. So definitely for a smaller business, it will be less than that, but still there is a money that we can use it and invest it in another project or some part of the business. And there are some, again, statistics like about by 2028, 90% of enterprise software developers, they are going to use an AI assistant for coding by 2028. And in 2040, that statistic shows about only 40% of developers were using AI assistant. So that means that eventually we need to use and leverage AI for any workflows that we have. And developers are at the front line because we do a lot of coding and AIs are expert in that. Coming to the AI agent and agentic platform, there are 1,000 definitions, and I'm pretty sure, because I know some faces, you're already expert in AI, but I thought it was to iterate over the definition of the AI tools. They're actually the software system that leverage AI to plan and complete a task. And that is just like helping the human and systems. And under the hood of these agentic AIs, this is what happens. We have the AI agents, and then they usually have actions. That's the action that happens automatically, but they are leveraging from tools. That tools could be anything that you have in your organization. And they use different planning strategies. I myself am familiar with chain of thoughts or reflections, but there are plenty of more. And then they have the memories that could be sort of temporary memory if you have a chatbot that is talking. So that will be the context or the temporary context that you provide to your agent, or it could be a long-term memory, any sort of databases, any sort of knowledge bases that you have. When it comes to the agentic AI services or the tools that AWS gives us, we have so many options. If you are like using and leveraging from sort of application, we can leverage from the Amazon Quick Suite, which I recently learned about that. That's a really cool low code that you can just go and create your chatbot quickly. And then Kira and Kira CLI, all the developers these days are familiar with. And it's the IDE that it integrates with MCP servers. It has different agents, and you can just leverage from that with the spec coding, not just wipe coding. And the tools that we have, Amazon Bedrock is known, like everyone knows that. It's an serverless service that enables you to use the models in your API layer with different API calls that you can have within your application. And the Strands is the model SDK, and the Nova Act SDK. I recently learned about this one on weekend, and that's actually a cool service that I send the actual link. You can go and try this service as well. But that one is for the browser kind of actions that you want to do. For example, if your support agents needs to, for example, fill a form on behalf of your customer, you can automate all of those with the Nova Act SDK, which is a super cool SDK that integrates with Python. So it's like a local, in your code, you can call that SDK and integrate with browser. And the Agentic AI platform, we have the Agent Core that has all the components that you require for building a platform, from observability to accessing to different agents, to orchestrating your agents, providing tools with the MCP server, and I will talk about that further in this talk. But how we can reframe the software development lifecycle to resolve some of those challenges that we have, those repetitive tasks, those complexity in integrating systems that we have, and so on. this is the solution that was presented at the talk. So as you see, this is the very high level and overview. Front end, same as all the agentic AI platforms. It was React, and they're using the Amazon Cognito for the authentication and role-based access. Then they have a sort of orchestration layer, and they're using Amazon Bedrock, but I will show you later on is actually Amazon Core, Agent Core, that has the agents and orchestrates with different MCP servers. So the personas are the software development lifecycle personas. It could be your business analyst or your product owner. It could be your developer, your designer, solution architect, if you have a dedicated testing team, for development, for cyber and maintenance. So everything is an MCP server, and that either you need to use any AI models that has been used with the Amazon Bedrock, and different tools like Confluence for Jira. If you want to use any design, like your solution architect wants to design the high-level design, or any sort of solution, you can integrate it with Dryo. So this is the whole platform as a whole. But what is really smart is that MCP server, which is project-specific knowledge. So it means that if you have, you're an enterprise, you definitely have multiple product team, multiple projects, and each of those has different team members from BA, product owner, developers, testers, and so on. So you have multiple projects. Each of those projects needs to have a consistent and persistent data about that project. Like if the business analyst goes and create epics for that specific product, that's been fed back to that knowledge base and vector S3 bucket that is actually fed back to the your AI platform. And the next person comes in, you already have the data that a person has done. So you can iterate over that and go from first phase as the requirement gathering to build and deployment. So that data has been always kept there, and your AI platform has access to all of that. And based on the users who assigns to which project, they can access to different requirement, different knowledge about different project. So that was the very high level. And what's the benefit? So it's the platform driven. It means that you can have different personas, multiple roles that leveraging one aspect or one use case of that platform. You can leverage from MCPs. If at the earliest stage you don't know what sort of functionality, what sort of tools your AI has, you have that flexibility. You can fit that MCP server and integrate it over time. And then definitely because of that memory for your agent, which is the temporary and long term, you will have the memory and persist. You have the orchestration because it's a platform. You are registering different agents. Agent can talk to agents. So you can really design and implement complex solutions in that platform. And then definitely, if you're using Agent Core, because we have the Agent Guardrail and Gateway, you actually can leverage from this high secure solution. Let's talk about the personas. This is my favorite thing, but I have to sometimes pause the videos because I've recorded the videos from that actual talk and presentation. I might come up from the full screen and just spit, so apologies about that. But let's start the business analyst and the project manager. So how they start? They have captured the requirements. Most of the common tools or platform everyone uses Confluence. So that data exists in their Confluence. And what they do is that they need to define the epics for that specific project. They need to define the user stories. What are the features or specific features for that user story? And then breaking down all of those stories to different or multiple tasks. And then definitely, actually, I'm coming from consultancy background, and we had example mapping. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with example mapping. It's sort of, you actually go to and discuss or brainstorming about the feature. What's good look like? What's the errors? To design and actually come with the acceptance criteria about that work you're going to implement. So these are everything that business analyst is doing over and over for every top epic, for every requirement, every project. So this is repetitive task. Even if you want to say, nah, this is actually repetitive. So if a consultant is assigned to different projects, they're doing that over and over again. How we can implement that? So in this solution, They are using Amazon Q Business as their chat and vector database that is actually integrating with the Atlassian. So it's Confluence, Jira, and everything that you have in Atlassian. And then they have like the AWS Lambda MCP server that used through the that can accept the request through the AWS API gateway. And front end, like I said, originally is React, and that is using Cognito for role-based access. Let's go to demonstration. So imagine that we have all the requirement on Confluence. And then this is the actual app. For different personas, they have different tabs. It goes to the requirement and is, again, a chatbot. But it's more than a chatbot because it has a lot of MCP and tools. So the business analyst requires to get all the information out of the Confluence and create all the stories. And like I said, it specifically says that use the Amazon Q tool. In no time, it creates all the epics. Like these are all the epics that they have, and each of those epics has been splitted to different features, like user authentication, how to create a user, how to sign up, how to manage your users, how to reset your password. So based on those requirements, it's actually telling you what you need to do to build that application. So that was quite fascinating. And then after that, it asked to create the acceptance criteria. I would say each example mapping session that I attended, it take at minimum 1 hour to discuss what's the given when then shape of that feature for every single epic that we have. Imagine that you're repeating that one every 2 weeks, but in no time, it gives you all the given when then for a specific topic. So you can just copy paste this one, or actually this one is copy and pasting everything for you in your Jira ticket, and your developer can go and pick it up. So that was like, for me, this is a great use case. Even if you would say, no, it's too much, but it is great to automate all of this stuff because these are redundant and repetitive tasks. So that is about the solution architect, the business analyst and product owner. Next, it comes to the solution architects. Usually in a DevOps team, head or developer usually do the solution architect. So regardless of the labels, there might be one person is doing multiple things at the same time. But it's good to just split different tasks that they are doing. With the solution architect, so you need to design that feature, have the infrastructure as code, have the diagrams, create the documents, and then deploy everything in terms of like the foundation of the projects. How that can be done in this platform. Again, you have the knowledge base. Like I said, there is an Amazon S3 vector database that actually has all the information that the previous persona has created. So it knows about the epics, features, all the acceptance criteria. Everything exists in that knowledge about this project. And then there are different tools. This diagram was a bit confusing. So what I did, I dig a little bit further, and I found more details around that. So that AI has multiple action groups. So that in context of Amazon Bedrock, we have action groups that define different tools. And then in that action group, it has one drawing that actually Lambda integrates with the Draw.io. And Draw.io is a architect favorite tool that you actually has all the AWS icons and you can design all the diagrams. And then they have the solution architect tools action group as well. And that one is indeed integrating with the AWS Where Architected framework. So solution architect needs to make sure that they are building the best solution. It's cheaper, secure, and cost-effective. So all of those can be fit as an action group to your agent. And this diagram was like more clear in what they are doing. So all the knowledge base as the Well Architect framework documents, AWS references for architectures, and the solution library, everything has been fit as a knowledge base to that agent. And then all those lambdas to create the infrastructure as code, to create and draw those diagrams, and then to analyze it and find out if this is actually the best practice and aligned with the Well Architect. Those are different Lambda functions that is connected to the MCP server. Let's see it in action. So now the designer goes in. One thing that I really liked about this tool is that, you see, it clicks to the generate diagram. This is a solution architect. It pre-filled the prompt. So as a solution architect, if you're confused and you don't know what to ask, it actually gives you the pre-default of the prompt. So it says that, okay, generate the design diagram for this specific feature. And it's with a good accuracy. I was so impressed. It actually gives the design that has different layers of the application. And because it's a chatbot, you can iterate with that model and ask to revise something or investigate if that is specific, if you want to use different services, if you don't want to go with RDS, you want to use DynamoDB. You can specify everything, and it can do that quickly for you. So this is very iterative. And also, you can add as many tools, or when I say tools, functionality to your agent. You can, for example, you see that generate API specs. So for that specific epic, if you need multiple APIs, for example, for managing your books, attaching the description to a book, creating that book, modifying that book, deleting. So it actually designs all the API schema, and then you can even use Swagger to test it here. So these are the tools or integrations that the MCP server can plug into your agent. I think this is time I need to fast it forward, but I don't think this is allowing me to do that. So wait for it. So this is the actual schema, which is the JSON object. And it saves a lot of time, as a developer, and if you're an API developer, you don't really want to go manually write all of those JSON files. And this is the actual Swagger that you actually see what endpoints you require. Like for getting books, posting books, you can make sure that you have all the endpoints. So this is actually ready to be built and deployed. So this is quick and so fast to go ahead. What's the next persona? Developer, which was I think most of us resonate with it. For the developer, they're using the Cura. So what happens, they're using Cura. They integrate and connect different MCP servers to leverage from those MCP servers that has all the knowledge about the different projects, and they can build those projects within their Cura. So let's go through the actual demonstration. This was I think this is the bit that I'm interested in. Actually, so you can go and list all the projects. So you might be a developer that you are working across different projects. What it does, it lists all the projects that they are working on, and it gives all the epics for that specific project. And you see, it's using all the MCP tools that has been plugged to Cura. So based on the epics that they have, they can choose that, hey, I want to work on this project, and this is the epic that I want to work today. So what will happen? It gives all the requirements. So what this MCP does, it goes and searches into that project knowledge base, finds all the requirements that the BA and solution architect were creating in the past, and then it creates all the information. So this is the first phase. As a developer, I don't want to write all the information about the feature that I am working. So this first step has been automated already. So it has created all the documents. And then it starts the specs coding. Because it has the requirement, it's super cool. You will see that it brings all the requirement. It goes to the design, that design phase. If you want to have all of those APIs, you design all of your models and data entries, everything. That takes so much time. And all of those out of the box with a couple of clicks. I'm pretty sure it's not as simple as I'm saying, but I'm pretty sure it's faster than what we imagine, definitely. But it will create all the design, what are the tables you require for all of those? What are the entities or the model data looks like? And it gives you all the information so you can start implementing. And then the next step is the task list that the spec coding with Cura enables to use. And that is actually gives you all the tasks you need to do. For example, create the monorepo. And you can tell it what sort of programming languages you want to use, what sort of even repo structure you want to have. And it creates that out of the box for you. And then when you click on a start task, it actually starts that task. So for example, first one is that to create the README, to initiate a GitHub repository, and then that will create that repository, for example, for you, and then you can start going through the next tasks. So with the task, that one is the monorepo. I'm pretty sure the next one was actually creating all the Java requirements and everything. And then it starts building the front-end, back-end infrastructure. And you will see at the end, it actually doing all the tests. It creates the CI/CD pipeline because you have said that you are using GitLab. And so this is the structure. All the backend, all the APIs that you want, it's like in the actual services that you have. It has all the, so each of those are the APIs that you require for each of the epics. And then it has the data model for each of the entities of your databases. And then I think Java is different structure. You have the repositories, the actual interaction with your database. And then it even has written the test. So as a developer, if I want to say, the next step for me is that to go and check that if actually is doing what I asked them to do. So it's aligned with the requirements. It's not just writing some code. I have to just confirm that's the correct thing to do. So it has all the even like scripts. So you see that it has like, for example, the GitLab CI/CD. And we show it in the end. It actually created the pipeline that includes all the security tests that you require as well. For example, you can even include that one as part of pre-commit. That, for example, if you want to prevent someone to push any secrets to your GitLab or GitHub repository. So all of those can be stopped and prevented before you actually commit if you have an MCP server that does those assertions. But so this is out of the box with your MCP and your Agentic AI platform. Finally, it comes to the DevSecOps. DevSecOps, they can use it in different approaches because first they want to find out if there is any errors, if there is any like high priority risk within the code, or if that like even you are having a log group to make sure what's happening in your history, log history. They can do it again in two different ways. The main approach is that to having the integration of your monitoring system with Slack, actually find out, so there is an ML that finds out any anomalies, and that has different tools to find out if there is any incident. Then the next phase is that if there is any incident happen, what tools that agent has in hand. First thing is that to go and analyze what was the reason or root cause of that issue. The next step is that do you want to find how to resolve it? What's the remediation solution for that one? So you can automate all of these with an AI model. Notification can be sent to Slack, and then you can also integrate it with the PagerDuty, or like we heavily use ServiceNow. So you can integrate that agent as with MCP server to an external tool like ServiceNow, that whenever an incident happens, it logs a ticket, and each time there is an update through that incident kind of cycle, you can, for example, set it work in progress, completed, or just resolved. So this is how it works with the solution with the cyber. So they can go and using the Kiro CLI, they actually find out, hey, now I want to query my CloudWatch logs, that a specific log group, because again, it has all the information, and your agent is has access to that log group for that specific stack. So you can find out what are the security risks or what were the problems within that log group in your CloudWatch. Waiting. So it starts reading that log group, and you will see that it actually find out with categories what are the high priority risk or issues that he find out in those logs, and what are the medium ones, what are the low priority risks that has been identified. And it integrates with the Slack as well. So there is like a slide that actually showing they have integrated the tool with Slack, and it's using a Splunk as their monitoring system and incident response. So it's send a notification to Slack. It identified what are the issues, and there are different actions that they can take. For example, they can investigate, start investigation, or they can have quick queries that has different kind of things that you can find out in your data. So all of those can be monitored and implemented with the Slack integration that happens as well. So that was pretty much it. Coming to the agent core, so all of those that we talked about, having that agent orchestration, having MCP servers, placing the observability like CloudWatch in, all of those out of the box are possible on AWS Amazon Bedrock Agent Core, that you can actually build that production ready on Amazon Agent Core. What it has is the runtime that actually you can find out what agents you want to use, what tools they have, what's the context. You can provide the context, which is the knowledge base, to your agent. You can use different models, which it integrates with Bedrock. You can leverage from MCP and Agent Core Gateway if you have any external API that you can call, and that's very secure. If you have any interaction with agent that should happen in a browser, or if you want to have a code interpreter, so you can actually implement that one with your Agent Core. And then identity, observability, these are the different pillars and capabilities that you can leverage from. And it has the agent memory, which is the temporary and the persist memory. That brings us to the end of this talk. I think it took more longer than what I expected. But if you want to see the code example, that project repo has all the different examples for different personas. The software development lifecycle Gen AI, that's also a great workshop. I found it really useful. And there is another, those two are workshops, so I found them super useful and like helpful if you want to get your head around. And the first one is the example for the code repo. That was pretty much it.
We actually do have time for